looking way past you.
You're pushing the buttons.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. It is 7 p.m., August 23rd, 2022. We're at the Genoa Township Hall at 5111 South Old 3C Highway, Westerville, Ohio, 43082. This is the Genoa Township Board of Zoning Appeals, and we have two agenda items tonight. We have BZA case 2022-04 for 5701 Sunbury Road, which is a conditional use permit, and this is its second meeting. We also have BZA case 2022-05, 5769 Ridgewood Avenue, which is a variance, first meeting. And we have staff present, Susan Dorch and Paul Benson. And I will call the roll. Ms. Driscoll.
Here.
Ms. Yu.
Here.
Mr. Phillips.
Here.
Mr. Boone.
Here.
Mr. Hanson.
Here.
And Mr. Carlson is not here. And the chair is present. Okay, before we get started, I just want to read this for everyone in the room. As is the adopted policy of the Board of Zoning Appeals, all applicants will be granted an opportunity to make their formal presentation. The audience will then be granted an opportunity to comment, followed by questions from the board. This policy was adopted by the Board of Zoning Appeals to provide for the orderly discussion of business scheduled for consideration. The chairperson, me, may limit repetitive debate. And so our first item is review and approval of the minutes from the meeting of July 26, 2022. And whenever you're ready, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I read every word, I'm waiting on everybody.
I'm sorry, I can't hear
I
you.
said I read every word, waiting on everybody, so I'll make a motion. to
Oh,
approve.
okay. Thank you.
Second.
Second by Ms. Yu. Okay. I read these a while ago. I just want to make sure there's nothing.
Sure.
Okay. Everybody ready? All in favor of approval of the minutes from July 26, 2000 and whoa. Here's a revision. It says January 25th, 2022. Let's make that July 26th, 2022. Yeah, I almost did too. Okay, with that revision, all in favor of approval of the
There's
minutes?
another revision.
Oh, got another one?
Well, there's two. of
Well,
them.
there's one right below, yes, I see
Yes.
it as well.
Both should be July.
Okay, anything else? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the meeting minutes are approved. Okay,
The minutes are correct, saying January the 25th. Because you didn't meet between, and last month was your first time, and you approved January 25th
right.
minutes.
Okay, we were thinking this is, right, you're absolutely correct. We will correct the correction.
Correct.
This is what happens when you don't meet a lot, apparently.
That was a long time.
January looks so crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So we are good to go. Yeah, and I'm sitting, and I believe that. Okay. All right, next, so we will open, let's see, anything else? We'll open the public hearing on the conditional use permit at 7:04 p.m., which was the matter that was continued from the last meeting. So everyone that wishes to speak on this matter, please stand and raise your right hand. Not everybody at once. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Be seated. I will read the application into the minutes again. Shayla and James E. McGuire Jr. requesting approval of a conditional use to construct an accessory building at 5701 Sunbury Road, Westerville, Ohio, 43082. Currently zoned rural residential, RR. This is BZA case 2022-04. It was continued from July 22nd. The initial legal notice was published July 9th, 2022, republished August 9th, 2022 in the Delaware Gazette, and posted at the Genoa Township Hall on July 8th and August 9th, 2022. An attempt to mail notice of the hearing to property owners contiguous to and across the street from the subject property was also made. The following were marked as exhibits A through D: the legal notice, the sign-in sheet, application, and staff report. And we'll start with staff again.
Thanks, Mark. I just had a couple updates from the last staff report.
Sure.
Just to note that our office sent an email to Mr. Knight, who's listed as the applicant on the application, and Mr. Burkhart, who is representing the property owner. And we informed them that they would be needed to be in attendance at the August 23rd meeting. And I guess the reason that we contacted them was to let them know that the DCRPC meeting would be after the township meeting.
Yes, I noted that just a moment ago. I think is it tomorrow?
It would be Thursday.
Oh, Thursday, okay. So we're essentially in the same place we were at the last meeting, is that correct?
Right, so the parcel where the main house is, the 5701 Sunbury Road, is actually a platted lot in the Pleasant Hills subdivision, which is a little subdivision with a few lots. And in order for them to combine the lot to the north, which is not part of that subdivision, they have to vacate that plat.
Right.
So that's why they're going to regional planning to get approval for that.
Okay. So I guess I'll re-ask the question. We're in the same position we were 30 days ago.
Correct.
Correct. Oh, Mr.
Yes.
Knight.
I was gonna say we,
Oh, Burkhart, sorry, I apologize. My memory isn't very good anymore.
We had submitted the combination of the properties. They had in fact been approved, but were not posted.
Okay.
So that was approved. It's just the plat that
It's just a
hasn't.
matter
That
of-
was submitted the same time, and unfortunately, it fell a day after their submittal, and now we're 2 months out for construction.
Yeah.
So I'm still hoping that we could just say that we'll accept it under the condition that Thursday it's approved. If not, it's null and void, and then we'd come back again.
I know, before we didn't even have this, all we knew was it had been
True.
submitted, and we didn't know what that meant at
That
the
is
time,
true.
So,
Does staff have any other comments, or you look like
Yeah.
you have a comment? You look like you have a comment, so.
I'm good.
No, you're fine? Okay, all right. Okay, well then,
Nothing changed?
pardon?
Nothing changed?
well, they haven't finished the process. So, I mean, I was looking this over and, just making some assumptions that, they'll have the hearing, that this isn't the kind of hearing where, they ask for more information and come back next month, and then there's more information. If I make the assumption that it's heard at this meeting, and then that they make a decision, that's the end of it, I'm comfortable moving forward with continuing to consider the conditional use.
Okay, say that again. You're comfortable with continuing
Right,
the case?
if I'm making the
Is-
assumption that at this meeting, they'll
Right.
discuss it, finish the issue, whether it's yes or no. I mean, if it's a no, then our conditional use means nothing anyway. But if
Yeah.
it's a
Is-
yes, then we've considered it. But again, like I said, I'm making that assumption that this is not a,
It's my
It's not a
understanding.
I was
back and
gonna say,
forth
can staff give
that-
us some
And
insight?
I'm not 100% positive, but it's my understanding that, so it is on, the vacation of the plat is on a consent agenda at regional planning. So there'll be several things on there. It'll be,
So
everybody
this is a
okay.
consent item then?
Right, so
Okay.
everybody's okay with this, and if somebody objected, then it would be removed from that consent item. So then, I think once that's done, then regional planning can move ahead and they can approve that vacation of that plat, and the lots can be formally combined.
and that part's been done, right? The application to combine.
They've done
the
this,
lots.
the paperwork, and
Right,
it's,
right.
Yeah,
and
the
it's
title and all
been
that, right.
recorded, but the document that's been recorded still shows the property line in between the two
Okay.
lots. So somehow, and I'm not an expert on it, but it,
Understand.
somehow that lot line needs to go away.
Yeah, and I don't know why that is, because I know our surveyor who put that together was up there several times. That's what took us so long last time to get it through. And they put the green stamp on it, and so I don't know. We're certainly, we'll take a property line off. Legally, it's already combined. It's, if there's an error in that, we'll take care of that.
And, obviously, we would not issue any zoning permits for them to do that until all of that process was satisfied.
Well.
I've
So,
shared.
Do you want to, anybody, Dave, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think my thoughts are if it's gonna be held up anyways, regardless of our decision, I would say let's just move forward.
Okay, so do I, Paul, same?
Be continued till it's actually done.
Okay. Well,
I mean, all we're asking is that you approve it under the condition. If it fails in 2 days, we'll come back. But if it doesn't, we've saved ourselves and, I mean, construction-wise, but another meeting.
no, I understand. Trust me, I understand
I know.
exactly where you're.
But see, this is already 2 months, and it'll be 3 months.
But we didn't submit the application.
I know, but we're just,
I understand.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you can't do anything until it's finalized anyways.
No, we wouldn't do anything officially. We're just saying that we'd at least get your approval, and once it's platted, then we'll proceed with permits and so forth. If not, we've got to come back another month, and it's just,
Can't move ahead anyway, right?
well, assuming they approve this Thursday night, and we make any little minor change that she believes we need on this title, which can be done immediately, then we would come back and hopefully ask for a building permit. But all of that has to happen. If that doesn't happen Thursday night, it's null and void, and then we'll agree to come back. But I'm just,
Well, I'm kind of open to suggesting how you guys want to handle this.
I think, to Paul's point, kind of like the legal ramifications, if one's predated before the other,
Good point. Because, look, I understand where you're coming from.
okay.
I think I probably told you this last one. too.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Well, last
I-
time it was a little iffy. This
Well, I'm
time
a
it's,
little
yeah.
more, I'm a little
yeah.
less iffy this time. I didn't submit the application in May or June, whenever you guys submitted it. Okay, I didn't do that. You did. The zoning code's pretty clear when it says they've got to be combined for us to do this. I've never been, in all the years I've been in business, I've never been a guy that, you know, and I'm not trying to take this out on anybody, but I think it's premature. If it's not done, it's not done. And it's either done or it isn't. So for me,
I'm kind of changing thought.
okay, I mean, I'm willing to listen.
I'm thinking, let's do it the way the process is set up based on Mark's statements. And once it's all finalized and done correctly, then come back and,
I mean, I really
I
don't,
would agree with that.
honestly, I don't want to see this case in September. But the
Right.
problem is, reality is, for me, and you guys are, I'm only one vote here. I run the meetings and I call, like I said earlier, I call the score. I don't, that's it. But for me to be comfortable to do this, I really think it needs to be done.
I do too.
And that's, and this is where we were last month. I think we had exactly the same discussion
Same
last
boat.
month. And like I said, I'm not trying to be tough on anybody, but I think by the same token, I think that it kind of, it is what it is. And
I think we're closer,
I
but we're just
agree.
not there yet.
I agree, and unfortunately, I can't get off that point. And like I said, we can do a couple things. We can call a vote on whether or not to hear the case or continue it. We can hear the case, I'm open to a motion to do
Okay,
anything.
if he has to come back, there's no point in hearing the case now, we can hear it then. I mean,
That's good.
Well,
Right, I
I,
would say if we vote to hear the case, we.
we either hear it and
we
make a
vote-
decision.
Exactly.
or we
And-
don't.
And if, you know, if the risk is that all of us say no,
Well,
then
the-
that's,
you know, the other,
that's one thing
I
to
mean,
consider. Just because I said I'm willing to consider it, I'm not giving away a vote necessarily.
no, I
just-
understand, and I
you know.
totally get that they don't want to have to come back and go through this again, and I get that. I don't blame them, I wouldn't either. But the problem is, for me, like I said, I'm one vote, but for me, it's not done yet.
that's right.
And it could be, you know, and I think we had this discussion last month too. It could be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, depending on what these guys do. The fact that it's a consent item makes me somewhat comfortable, but then the fact that it has to go back to the, you know, to the county again,
Yeah, which I didn't realize. Yeah,
I don't know the
That's,
process.
I saw that,
I
right.
mean, I don't know that we've ever seen one of these before. I don't remember ever seeing one of these in 10, 11, 12, almost 12 years. I don't remember seeing one of these. I don't know what the process is. But I do know what the code says. I'm pretty good at reading the code. The code says it's gotta be done.
Okay.
Mr. Burkhart,
I-
go ahead.
Okay, we'll agree for a continuance.
Okay.
But I guess what I want to know now, and you don't have to give official vote or anything, but I don't want to come back in a month, have all the paperwork done, and the 3 members of the board say, I don't like the conditional use.
I understand.
Can we at least say
I
that
understand.
we're in
And you know
favor?
what?
Yeah, but for that,
But that's a whole nother issue.
My comment on that, though, is if you would have had the approval last month, we could have still done that. We could have still went through the same.
Right, we would have still
process.
gone through the same process to see about, you know, the
The
because you're
conditional
asking,
use.
there's 2 questions here. The question is the combining the parcel. The other question, the other issue is the proposed
Conditional use.
project. And I don't believe that we're in a position to give you an indication on the proposed project, because I think that, again, that would be premature.
Okay,
But do we have,
I mean-
does anyone have questions?
Well,
If they're
I don't-
here,
I don't think we're there.
Okay.
That's, I mean, you know, I totally understand where you're coming from. I'm not unsympathetic to you at all. But the reality is, the reality is.
Okay.
And I'll apologize. I'll apologize for the situation, not for the decision of the board.
Right, no, I understand.
And I think should we do a vote on that then? Should we call a vote? Because-
I move that we continue it to the next meeting.
Okay, and you're gonna move and you're gonna second? Right, to the next.
To September 27th, 2022 at 7 PM.
There you go.
All right.
Good, somebody knows the meeting agenda or calendar. Okay, any other further discussion? Teresa already seconded, so we're good.
Second, yeah. There it
Okay,
is. There's a continuance.
so I'm ready to call the vote if you guys are ready. Okay, Ms. Driscoll?
Yeah.
Mr. Boone? Yes. Mr. Hanson?
Yes.
Miss you?
Yes,
Chair votes yes.
to continue.
Okay,
See
thank
ya-
you.
see ya in
See you
the-
next month.
Okay.
Have a good Labor Day. Okay. Give me 1 minute here so I can change gears.
Take your rightful place.
We're clearing them out.
You know, here.
Okay. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for dropping by. Okay, now. Okay, so we closed that hearing at 7:21 for the record, and where's the? I am ridiculously unorganized all of a sudden. Okay, we're gonna open the second hearing at 7:22. I'll read the legal notice into the record in a moment and ask everyone that wishes to appear on this matter to stand and be sworn in. Yeah. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Be seated. I assume you're the applicant? I am. Okay. Okay. Either, whatever you prefer is fine.
Do you want to note that Mark is here?
Oh, and we'll note for the record that for this hearing, Mr. Phillips is here. Mr. Hanson, who is an alternate currently, is absent from this
Just hit the
portion of
little
the
button.
meeting. Thanks.
He did.
Um,
Cannot take credit for that.
Okay, so I'll read the application into the record. Kyle and Amanda Arnold requesting approval of an area variance to allow the principal building to encroach into the required rear setback at 5759 Ridgewood Avenue, Westerville, Ohio, 43082, lot 2923 in Highland Lakes North, currently zoned Plan Residential District, that's PRD, and this is BZA case 2022-05. Excuse me, the legal notice for this hearing was printed and published on August 11th, no, it's the other way around, August 9th, 2022. Nope, that was right. Yeah, it printed and published on August 11th and posted in the Genoa Township Hall on August 9th. An attempt to mail notice of this hearing to property owners contiguous to and across the street from the subject property was also made. We are accepting into evidence the following exhibits, A through D, which includes legal notice, the sign-in sheet, application, and the staff report dated August 19th, 2022, and we'll begin with staff.
So the subject property is 5759 Ridgewood Avenue, and it's lot 2923 in the Highland Lakes North subdivision. On February 25th, 1997, zoning permit 9765 was issued for the construction of the resident that's on the subject property. The zoning permit was revised on July the 28th, 1997, and they added a 14-foot deck to the rear of the property. And actually, within the last couple days. I did locate that there is already a variance on the property and
For the deck.
for that deck, and when they had made that revision to add the deck, it's not pertinent to this application because they're asking for a roof addition to the building now, and this was a deck that doesn't have a covered roof. And we're not quite sure in our office why they had to have a variance for the deck, because it's not encroaching into the.
Oh, it's not?
Well, the code currently allows you to, if it's not roofed, can encroach 10 foot into a rear setback. So, like, if they came in today with that request, we would issue the zoning
issue it.
permit because it meets code. And so I'm not quite sure, but none of us were in the office in 1997, so we
Is
don't
that
know
the
what
same,
the.
is that the same stipulation if it's attached or non-attached to the house?
It gets a little more gray if it's not attached, yeah. Could become an accessory structure then.
Gotcha.
Okay, and then, so on July 19th of this year, we received an online application form from the applicant for construction of the roof addition over that existing deck. On July 20th, we emailed Mr. Arnold requesting some clarification on the scope of work, and Mr. Arnold emailed back. We emailed Mr. Arnold to inform him that the minimum setback for an addition to the house that had a covered roof was a minimum of 30 foot. We had a couple conversations back and forth, and subsequently, the variance application was submitted on July the 26th. So the variance is to request a 10-foot reduction in the required 30-foot rear yard setback to allow for the construction of a roof addition over an existing deck. So the zoning code section listed on the application for the variance request is section 909.01B. And this section of the code does not specifically list that 30-foot rear setback, but the final development plan text for the Highland Lakes North subdivision does specify that the rear setback is 30 feet. And I think we provided you all with a copy of that section from the final development text. So we did send a copy of the variance application to police, fire, and maintenance departments, and no comments or concerns were received. As Mark noted, the legal notice was published in the Delaware Gazette on August 11th. The notification sign was placed on the subject property also on August 11th, and we mailed notifications to the adjacent property owners on August 10th. And to staff's knowledge, we did not get any inquiries about this application.
Okay. Any questions for staff? Let's hear from the applicant.
It's such a thorough review of it. I mean, moral of the story is my wife and I decided that we want to remain in the neighborhood and for a very long time with the craziness of the world and interest rates and everything. So we decided to think about some home improvements that we wanted to do. We've got 2 little kids. We spend a lot of time outside. Our backyard actually backs up into wooded kind of preserve area that splits up Willow Bend, the southern portion of Willow Bend and the northern portion of Highland Lakes. And started talking about, you know, throwing on an open air roof so that we could enjoy more time.
This is off a balcony?
Yeah, so essentially, there's a current existing deck. Well, there's 2 existing decks. There's the larger 14-foot off the left side of the house on the
Okay.
back, which goes off the kitchen. There's also a little Romeo and Juliet deck off our master bedroom.
Okay.
So we're rehabbing those with new, you know, Trex decking, nice updated black hand railing, and the roof line that we're proposing is going to be on the left side, the larger deck.
Oh, so it's going over the larger deck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And it's off the first floor then?
it is. Yeah. And we have a walkout basement with
Oh, so
patio
you're on
down
a hill
below.
with a walkout?
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
And, you know, part of the reason we opted for tying the roof line into the existing roof is because we think it would look nicer rather than having a detached gazebo, if you will. So we opted for the a little bit more challenging route, but we still feel that it's the right route to go. We feel that it would improve our home. I think it would be a nice addition to our home in our neighborhood as well. So I still think we can fit within the, respecting the township's, you know, codes, the neighborhood's codes, and still hopefully, you know, get the variance approved. Our house has been kind of like a sitcom show. Everybody drives by and stops and asks me what the sign's about. People in neighborhoods aren't used to seeing variant signs. It's
Yeah,
always
boy.
on
You're
land.
right.
So that's been interesting. You know, I talked to the neighbors, everybody around us, obviously supported it. Yes.
Has your HOA approved it?
Yes.
Okay.
So I went through the proper channels there. I submitted it to the HOA and the HOA architect. I actually have documentation of that approval.
we
Now
have
that,
that?
okay, and that approval is conditional based on
Us.
how you guys vote.
Right,
Yeah.
and, you know, of course, we'd be happy to tell you, our approval is conditional on them. No.
Of course, of course.
Um,
Totally understand.
No, usually we like you to go to your HOA first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if there's gonna be an issue, let them deal with it.
Take longer too.
Yeah.
And I showed them, I don't know, I think you guys have copies of.
Do we
this.
have, is this the plan here?
So the last page of the
This?
drawings.
No.
Yeah, well, so that is our inspiration.
Yeah, so
That-
that's not their house.
Yeah.
It took me a little while to figure that
Yeah,
out.
so this
Right.
is another home in the Glades at Highland Lakes. And we drove by a lot of homes, looking, you know, at the backs of people's houses, trying to figure out what we wanted. And this is pretty much identical to what we're trying to achieve, cedar wrapped posts.
And so you're gonna look like this? This is your plan?
So it's gonna be, do you mind if I
No,
approach?
no, go ahead. This isn't Judge Judy.
I got this one.
So this is the old drawing.
Oh, that's the old one. Is
So
this-
I basically submitted, because I have all the plans for, so this is going to be the new
Oh.
structure. So it's not a full-scale, you know, rendering.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's the nuts and bolts, if you will.
So you're gonna put, you're just gonna put it, you're just gonna go over the existing deck?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, no
You're not gonna
further,
extend the deck or anything?
not at all.
So it's like last time, but it's attached to the house this time.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, it's like the second one we've had lately.
Yeah, they're.
Yeah, most of the time it's not attached to the house. They're just sticking a top over.
Yep.
Yeah, we had one of those not too long ago, too.
And we looked at connecting the 2 decks and enclosing the bottom portion where our patio is. And we just spend a lot more time on our first floor than the basement.
Oh, this house is around the corner from you, isn't it? This house?
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah.
same neighborhood.
I know, I've
Yep.
seen that house.
Yeah, all the newer houses in Willow Bend and the Glade, there's a lot of this
A lot
type of
of those,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, in the houses in our area, there's some similar structures, but I would say they're screened-in porches, four-season rooms, things of
Right,
that
I think
nature.
that is more because of the age of the house. People built in the late nineties and then did the screen porch
How old
thing
is the
like
house?
everybody.
It was built in 97, but we've updated, we've, done different things, just surface level updates. 'Cause like I said, we plan on being here for quite some time, so.
Okay.
Are there any plans to make that a room, a permanent enclosed room?
Not at this time. The only thing that my wife and I have talked about in the future is expanding our master bedroom, which is the opposite side. That side really wouldn't, not at this time. We don't want a room addition there. We have a 4-bedroom currently, 2 kids, so we don't really need any more space. We are not having any more children.
The idea
Yeah.
is to get them to move along.
Yeah, we've got a 6-year-old boy who just started kindergarten, and we've got 2 going on 3 daughters.
Oh,
So
wow,
one of
you got
each.
a long way to go.
Very fortunate. Yeah, we don't want to restart that clock. So.
So this is gonna be tied into the house, correct?
The roof line is.
Yeah. And, how are you gonna support the outer edge since the deck is
So the
up
de-
off the ground?
so the deck, the original posts are sound, and then there is also underneath the current deck, there is concrete and brick all the way around it. So there's essentially another foundation, and I'm not a structural guy, but.
Are these 6x6 posts?
What's it say? Let me see.
Can't really breathe.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned with the weight,
Mm-hmm.
the load-bearing weight.
Let me go at it another way. Were you,
What the building department's for.
Yeah.
yeah, well, that, and I assume, should I assume that you will have an engineer,
Yeah.
do plans for this? What's
Well,
that?
We were planning on going through Delaware County. From my understanding, this was the first level of approval
So
that I
you had turned in
needed.
plans to them.
Yeah.
Oh, I got,
Yeah.
okay.
So we
Okay.
plan on going through Delaware County
Got
to
Okay.
officially do it.
So yeah, they're gonna have to prove your plans and
Yeah.
specifications.
Yeah.
He has to, there's no, I'm going to.
Yeah.
just
Literally.
trying to-
Yeah, I don't wanna see you out there Sunday throwing some
Well, I
posts
guess
in the
you don't
ground.
have to, but you.
I was just trying to get an idea if the posts, if the posts were gonna go all the way to the ground, or if they're gonna be supported by the existing deck. That's fine.
The posts from the current design, the posts are going to sit on the existing structure because the guy kind of, he added, what are they, floor joists? There's twice as many floor joists now, and he, firmed everything up and made sure it was stable, so. I'm not saying it in the most technical way, but.
Up and down on it. Didn't care.
And it's squeaked only once.
But they're either 6x6 or 8x8. They're sitting in my backyard, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's big.
because,
Big.
yeah, they're big
Yeah.
posts. And I think there's gonna be 6 of them on top of the existing deck to hold the roof. Plus the roof is going to sit on the existing roof,
No, this is sitting on.
so.
This
Right.
is what's
Yeah.
sitting on.
You're gonna
the-
tie into the roof.
Yep, it's all gonna be tied in.
No,
Yeah.
Isn't that under?
No, not under. This is what's sitting on it.
Okay, Mr. Boone, any other comment, questions?
The only question I have is, when you laid this out, the footprint that your existing deck is gonna be the footprint of the roof line that's
Yeah.
going over top. So
Yep.
you're using the same space, same. footprint.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know if it was gonna be bigger and spread out further than the existing deck.
No, it should, maybe the gutters would stick out a little bit, but the roof line itself is just gonna
It'd be about the
cover the
You're
existing
not, you're
deck.
not adding any square footage essentially to the.
No, the deck's gonna be the same. We didn't want to change any of the structural components of the existing deck, because I figured that would require even more, approval and due diligence and all of
Yeah.
that, so, and we really didn't need it. We've got you know, 0.27 acre lot, so it's very small to begin with, and we want to maintain the grass space that we have currently, so.
Okay, Dave, good?
I'm good.
Okay, Dorothy, anything?
I'm fine.
No? Mark?
Good by me?
Teresa? Well, does somebody want to run through, Duncan, well, after this musical interlude, would someone like to?
You got to say that silence yourself.
Yeah, you know, and I almost did, and then I got distracted, and then I forgot. And usually I'm the bigger offender. This gonna be Duncan versus Middlefield. Dave, thank you.
A mistake.
You good, Dorothy?
Pardon?
I was asking Dorothy if she was good. Duncan versus Middlefield. The board reviews section 307. I am on the right, I'm on the right page, right?
Hold on.
There's no one here, but sometimes
Oh,
you yell out.
thank you. Public comments. There's no one in the audience, so
Yeah,
I
so-
assume there's no public comment.
But there's no public.
Thank you.
I don't know if you need to put it.
You know, with these long breaks, I need to be retrained, so. Okay.
Okay, Duncan versus Middlefield. The board reviewed section 307.06 of the zoning resolution reflecting Duncan versus Middlefield as it pertains to a variance requested from section 909.01.b to allow for a principal building to encroach 10 feet into the required 30-foot setback in the planned residential PRD zoning district as follows. The property in question would yield a reasonable return, and there can be beneficial use of the property without the variance. And I believe that the property is in a good neighborhood. The location is very nice today, and you could continue as is without the variance, but it would yield a reasonable return also with it.
I like what the applicant, just to jump in, I like what the applicant said, that they get better benefit with the variance, and I think it gives them some additional utility with a roof.
So would you say can or cannot?
Oh, it can
can.
be beneficial without the variance, but with the variance, there's additional utility.
The variance, I would say is substantial because we're looking at 33%. Is that correct?
We are.
But it's covering an existing footprint.
Right, it's
So
there.
it's
Oh,
not
yeah,
extending.
however
So
covered.
It's not, it's new, but it's not new because the footprint's there, so.
But this footprint is in the air, so
Right.
there's walking space underneath also.
Right.
The essential character of the neighborhood would not be substantially altered, and adjoining properties would not suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. Again, being that it's a roof over an existing deck, that it should not create any substantial detriment to the neighborhood. The variance would not adversely affect any delivery of governmental services. The property owner, I want to say, did purchase the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction.
We always do.
It's usually in your deed restrictions.
Yeah.
The property owner's predicament, in this case, I would say could feasibly be obviated through a method other than the variance,
Sure,
but
he could just not build.
not build, but there's an existing deck already, so the usage is already there regardless if it has a roof or not.
Yeah, even if the roof weren't attached, you would need the variance.
Right. The spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice would be done by granting the variance.
I think that's a good statement. Okay.
So findings of fact.
Potential anybody, you know, this is pretty simple. Why don't you, just since you're there, why don't you make a motion? Whatever motion, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. But.
I'll make a motion to move to incorporate Exhibits A through D, as well as the board's findings pertaining to the review of Section 301.06 of the Genoa Township zoning resolution into evidence, and to approve the requested variance from Section 909.01 of Genoa Township's resolution for BZA 2022-05, application received on July 26, 2022, to allow for a principal building to encroach 10 feet into the required 30-foot setback on property known as Lot 2923 in Highland Lakes North Subdivision, 5759 Ridgewood Avenue, west of Ohio, 43082, Zone Planned Residential District, PRD. This motion is based on the following findings of facts pursuant to Section 307.04 of the Genoa Township zoning resolution, that such variance or modification can not be contrary to the public interest because I do not believe that it'll be contrary to public interest because it's already a roof over an existing structure. So there's no detriment to the neighbors or surrounding area. The owing to special conditions, a literal enforcement of the zoning resolution would result in an unnecessary hardship because the unnecessary hardship would be the owner not recognizing a roof for sunlight or the elements. So that would be the hardship only in this case because the deck is already existing. That the approval of such variance or modification thereof is consistent with the spirit and the zoning resolution, and substantial justice shall be done thereby because it would provide better aesthetics and just all around better improvement to the neighborhood by granting the variance. Approval of the subject variance is subject to the owner's agreement to the following conditions. Incorporate any of the board wishes to apply. All requirements, permits, zoning, and otherwise be obtained pursuant to Section 307.11 of the Genoa Township zoning resolution. The approval variance shall lapse, expire, or be null and void ab initio if required. Zoning permits are not obtained within 1 year of this motion of approval. Extensions to the variance may be requested pursuant to Sections 307.11.A and B of the Genoa Township zoning resolution as may be amended. The Board of Appeals does grant the Genoa Township zoning inspector authority to extend the variance at their discretion, subject to the deadlines established within the Section 307.11.A of the Genoa Township zoning resolution as may be amended.
And just for clarification for the applicant, that means that if you, I'm sure you want to get this done as soon as you can, but if there's a delay and you need an extension because this is supposed to expire in 12 months, if for some reason you can't get it done, because I know there's a lot of guys that are, they have trouble getting contractors, whatever, you can go back to staff and request an extension. We're not going to require that you come back here.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Okay, motion seconded by Ms.
Second.
Yu.
Yep.
Oh, you're good.
I forgot you.
No. Oh, no. Any further discussion? Are we good? Should I call the roll?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Boone?
Yes.
Ms. Driscoll?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Ms. Yu?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. You're approved.
You got it.
And the meeting is adjourned at 7, 48. So, there you go.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Enjoy.
Good luck.
Hopefully
Yeah,
you guys
good luck.
can Go enjoy some nice weather now, maybe in a few minutes.
Yeah, it's getting late, it's getting dark
I
earlier,
also
boy.
have a roof over my patio.
Oh, do
If you
you?
want to take a look at it, you're more than welcome.
Are you over near us?
No, I'm down,
Oh,
North
here.
Point.
Hang on. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned at 7:40, 50.